Now, let's face it, for a candidate struggling to find ground in a fiercely competitive race, or for insurgent contestants taking on an incumbent party, an endorsement can be powerful. It can encourage and keep a candidate afloat and help to turn people out at their public events. And it can make a difference in a neck-and-neck election that is too close to call, especially in circumstances where a candidate is already well known and has unique appeal. A case in point is the ringing endorsement for the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi from leaders of the Southern and Middle Belt Forum, made up of the Middle Belt Forum, Ohanaeze Ndigbo, Afenifere, and the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF.
Obi serves our purpose not only for equity, fairness, and justice, but looking at the political terrain, he stands out as the best material out there that we can market to Nigerians and say, bring whoever you want and let's match them one-on-one.
They are not saying it's the turn of the Yoruba because they know that we Yoruba know it is not our turn.
Yeah.
But they have personalized it and say it is their turn. And we are saying it cannot be their turn. As long as they are coming out in the name of Yoruba, it certainly cannot be their turn.
We are not supporting Peter Obi because he's Igbo. No. Peter Obi is everything that a president should be in any part of the world. So nobody is supporting Peter Obi because he's an Igbo man, because there are a lot of Igbo men that could have come out.
Obi is leading the crusade to get the world from the bondage of serious oppressors who are blind oppressors.
Well, for more on those endorsements and what they might mean for Peter Obi and the Labour Party, I'm joined now on the line by the Coordinating Secretary of the Southern and Middle Belt Leaders Forum, Ken Robinson, who's also the National Publicity Secretary of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF. Mr. Robinson, thank you very much indeed for joining us. We appreciate your taking the time to talk to
for
us.
This opportunity.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for this opportunity, and viewers, wherever you're viewing us from, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you very much indeed. And just tell us more about the thinking behind this ringing endorsement. The Labour Party's presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, has been given by your forum.
Let me first of all say that the forum of Southern and Middle Belt Forum Leaders Forum is made up of men and women who have served in almost all the positions that you can think of in Nigeria. Governors, ministers, senators, director generals of top-ranking federal institutions in the country, community leaders, traditional rulers, you name it. People who have seen it all, who have seen Nigeria, how it worked in the First Republic, to the Second Republic, to the Third Republic, and until today. And they are still active, particularly our father's chief, Dr. Edwin Kagbero Clark, OFRCON, and of course, Chief Ayo Adebanjo, the leader of Afenifere. These are men who are great men, who have seen it, who knows it, and they are saying, look, Nigeria, this is the direction we should go in 2023. And let me say this. If this advice, the endorsement is an advice to Nigeria, is telling Nigeria, look, this is where we are, and that if we go take this path, Nigeria will become a better nation for all of us. And of course, if we ignore it, there will be ramifications, and we're experiencing it.
Well, it's interesting because, I mean, that's a move born essentially, from just listening to you, out of what appears to be an ethical and moral sense, as well as a sense of what is best for Nigeria from your perspective. But looking at the broader electoral picture, how hard will it be getting Mr. Obi elected? I wonder if you could share with us the practical electoral benefit that your group's endorsement will bring for Peter Obi.
What we did yesterday's gathering was, as it were, there are 6 zones in Nigeria: the Northwest, the Northeast, the southwest, the southeast, the south-south, and of course the north-central. The Middle Belt Forum comprises communities, peoples from cutting across the north-central, the northeast, and the northwest. We have members in the Middle Belt Forum around these three zones of the country. And of course, Afenifera in the southwest, and Pandev is south-south, and of course, Ohaneze Ndigbo is primarily southeast, and of course, some elements in some of the other states. So this is, as it were, two-thirds of Nigeria saying this is the person we want as the next president of Nigeria. And it's monumental. Anyone that takes this endorsement for granted is not a serious person, does not understand how these things work. Politics is about people, it's about numbers. We have made an endorsement and we have asked our people to go down to the grassroots to mobilize. And of course, the outcome of the result on the 25th of February will tell the story.
And, I mean, do you think that with... Yeah, sorry, I'm just going to come in there. Do you think that with 3 weeks to go before the election, there are lots of undecided voters who are still scratching their heads and still can't quite figure out which candidate they want, and therefore these endorsements become the cue that they use?
What we have in Nigeria today and the situations and circumstances that we are confronted with, I really do doubt if there are really a good number of undecided voters. Nigerians have made up their mind in the direction they are going. All the need, at times, everyone needs a nudge. And what we did yesterday was to say, if you're thinking that this is the path you want to go, then you're right. And for those who have not decided yet on the path to go, we're saying, look, this is the right path to go. We've had enough of promises. Mr. Peter Obi represents a new dispensation for Nigeria in Nigeria's political progression. He represents the hope of tomorrow. He represents the hope of today. It's for the present generation. It's for the future generation. And we observe rightly that he stands out amongst all the other presidential candidates in terms of competence, in terms of integrity, in terms of credibility, and in terms of national outlook. And so we are saying to Nigeria, let us not make the mistake of doing otherwise. This is an opportunity for us to get it right. This is an opportunity for Nigerians to give to themselves a president that will bring about the change that we truly need and we desire and we deserve. Anything otherwise in this 2023 election will be disastrous for Nigeria. And this is not just being a prophet of doom, it's a reality. We are comprised of people, as I said earlier, who have seen it from the beginning, pre-independence to independence. And for some of us, we are fortunate to be in this kind of gathering and associating with this level of people. And we must applaud them for their consistency, their steadfastness, and their patriotic commitment to ensuring that Nigeria becomes a better country. And we are saying that the answer for the many problems of Nigeria is P2B and Senator Dante Ahmed.
Well, I mean, of course, you may believe that, but there are a lot of other people who don't, and also a lot of people who don't see the practical possibility of him being elected. I'm sure you've been following the news. Nasir Elrufai, the APC governor of Kaduna State, has been reacting to suggestions that Peter Obi may likely win this election. He says all the polls that point to a Peter Obi victory are unreliable and can easily be deconstructed, and that according to their own survey, Peter Obi is polling 1% in Sokoto, 2% in Katsina, and 5% in Kano. And that Mr. Obi may be doing well in the southeast and parts of the south-south, but that's not going to give him the 2/3 spread he needs. What is your reaction to that?
Very simple, and of course, His Excellency El-Rufai is a fantastic gentleman, and his views are respected, but those are definitely just his views. Politics, winning election is about numbers. And let me emphasize that these leaders are not political scavengers. They are not political merchants. This endorsement is not based on permutations on who will win or who is unlikely to win. It is an advice to Nigeria. And I thank you for this opportunity and thank our leaders for this opportunity to express these reflections with our fellow countrymen and women. That this is about what we need as a people. Let us, I repeat, give to ourselves as Nigerians a president that will give us that desired change. We have talked about renewed hope. We have talked about rescue Nigeria. Those who brought us to this level cannot rescue us. We need new thinking, new mindset, new orientation, and someone that represents all that we are talking about is P2B. He is from within, but as we are, is from without, and he has the capacity, we believe, and the credibility to be able to drive this country out of the woods. So we shouldn't be talking about 1% here, 1% there. There are persons in Sokoto State who are suffering from the circumstances that are created by the inability of the government to run this country properly. There are people in Kaduna State, and we know all these challenges, security challenges. They are not limited or restricted to any particular part of the country at this time. But we know the challenges in Kaduna State. With all the brilliance and all the excellence and cleverness of His Excellency, there are challenges. And so we need to begin to think differently from how we've been doing it before. And to say, look, if we want a new Nigeria, we need to begin to do things differently. We cannot be doing the things as it has always been said by the wise, to say that if you continue to do things as you've been doing them, you continue to get the same results. And we think that 2023 is a turning point for Nigeria. And this is a year of possibilities. And I'm sure that some of these politicians will be shocked about the outcome of the 2023 general elections.
Of course, any political situation becomes an opportunity for not just the candidate, but their supporters as well. I mean, do you see this as an opportunity for the Southern and Middle Belt Leaders Forum to assert itself politically?
Let me perhaps clarify that the Southern and Middle Belt Forum is not a political organization. We are just leaders, we are just Nigerians, patriotic Nigerians, elder statesmen, leaders of thought, who are committed to the betterment of Nigeria. And let me recall that in 2019, this same group, together with the Northern Elders Forum, endorsed Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, His Excellency, the former Vice President of Nigeria. So there is a kind of consistency in the trajectory of the activities of the Southern and Middle Belt Leaders Forum. It's about who can take Nigeria to a better position. And for 2023, we are not supporting Atiku Abubakar basically because of fundamental principles and not because of who he is or what he is not. It's primarily that after 8 years of Northern presidency, as represented by President Muhammadu Buhari, the next president of Nigeria should come from the South. And for us, we think that zeroing it down to Southern Nigeria, it should come from the Southeast to give every part of Nigeria the sense of belonging, that look, we are all Nigerians, and that any Nigerian, no matter where you come from, can aspire to any office in this country, and that the whole of Nigeria can actually support you to become, in this case, the president of Nigeria.
And at the risk of making you repeat yourself, but to be very clear on the points that you're making, and also for our audience to give them the chance to make up their minds with regard to not just P2B but all the other candidates, do you have a message for the Nigerian voter with 3 weeks to go to this ambitious election?
With about 3 weeks to go to this election, it's a monumental point in Nigeria. Nigeria is at presently at an unprecedented threshold, ensnared by a myriad of problems. And we are saying that there is an answer. And that answer is P2B and Danti Ahmed, Baba Ahmed. And the fundamental point here for Nigerians to note is that we cannot continue to be doing what we have been doing before. In this case now, we cannot sell votes. We cannot afford to sell votes. We cannot afford to compromise for immediate gains and continue to keep Nigeria the way it has been in the past, and particularly in the last 7 years. We need to move Nigeria forward. So we are asking Nigerians, and wherever you are, in all the communities, in all the local government areas, in all the states of Nigeria, to say, look, on the 25th of February 2023, go out en masse in all the 176,000 plus polling units in the country and exercise your franchise and give to yourself, by yourself, a president that will change Nigeria for the better. And that president, we believe, is Peter Obi, and we are advising Nigerians to take that path.
Okay, I want to thank you very much indeed, Mr. Robinson, for joining us this evening and for taking the time to talk to us. I know you had to kind of adjust your schedule in order to be where you are with us this evening, so we're enormously grateful to you.
We are servants.
And,
yes, but perhaps let me just conclude, if you don't mind, Charles,
yes, yeah, very briefly.
To say that there are, yes, very briefly, there are speculations, and very strong speculations. There are plans to scuttle this democratic process. And of course, one of the outcomes of our meeting yesterday, arising from that meeting, is a strong statement to say that any attempt to scuttle the democratic process will be vehemently resisted. We must not allow democracy that people sacrifice their lives and struggled for years to be truncated for any reason. We must ensure that Nigeria, there is a peaceful transition, and that all politicians should avoid all actions that will jeopardize this process.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. And Ken Robinson is the coordinating secretary of the Southern and Middle Belt Leaders Forum. He's also the national publicity secretary of the Pan Niger Delta Forum, PANDA.